Hello and welcome to the 13th session of Java video series. In this session we will understand about the methods and the variable argument methods. Both the topics are very important. To begin with, let me give you the definition of methods first. So to understand the basic concept of method, if we use methods correctly, then it will reduce the complexity of the code, increase the readability of the code, and hence maintainability of the code will also become easy. So these are the 3 points which we must understand, and there is also a point we should note, that if we use the methods correctly, it means if we are not using the methods correctly, then it is going to do the vice versa. The maintainability of the code would become difficult if we do not use the methods correctly, right? So let me begin with the topic by giving you the syntax of the methods. So there is a return type which is associated with method name. For example, say I have a method which add up 2 numbers, right? And if I want, I can simply display the result into the method body. I will explain these points by running the program, but for now consider the theory only, where I can provide the result in the method only. The method will be shown onto the screen, right? But if I want to give the result back to the point from where the method is called, then I must give some return type to that point. For example, in case of addition of 2 integers, the result is also an integer, provided the numbers are not too large, right? So what happens is the result is also an integer. You add 2 integers, you will get an integer back. So you must return that result as an int. So return type over there will be an int. Okay, I hope this point is clear. Now method name can be any valid identifier name. We have discussed about the identifiers in our first video session. So say if the method is returning something, then you must give the return type accordingly. If it is returning some type of login information or login verification, then it should be like either true or false, that login is true or login is false kind of thing. So the return type over here will become boolean, right? So that will be the case for the login verification type of things. Now method name we have discussed. Next comes the arguments. We have discussed about the addition, right? So in order to add up numbers, we must provide the numbers to the method. So these numbers will be caught up by these arguments. So these arguments must match the type of data you pass to the method. For example, if we are passing the integer type of numbers, then over here the capacity of the argument should be at least to catch the integer. You can declare to your convenience, but it should be at least integer, right? You must have int arguments over there, and you must have a return type as int if you are going to throw back the result to the source, right? So this is the basic syntax of the method. Now let me give you an overview of method, how to declare it inside a program, and what are the various problems related to not using and using method both, right? So let me go to the first program. Here I have written it down. So I have declared a class test. Inside main method, what I've done, first I try to add up 2 numbers, right? I have declared 2 numbers and I'm trying to add up. In the next code, in the next line of code, what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to subtract 2 numbers, right? And in the other lines of code, I'm trying to divide 2 numbers. These are the 3 cases I have taken. We can take more cases in here, like login information and verification and other things related to your code which comes to your project or your mind, right? So what happens is, if you are going to insert each and everything inside the main method, what goes down is that the number of lines of code will increase, right? It will be inside the main method, and if you try to improve the method, if you try to say change or modify the code, then it will become difficult as the code goes on increasing with the requirements, right? And it is the nature of computer coding that the code always changes along with the requirements. Say for example, Android versions are coming one after the other, so it's the requirement which keeps on changing, and that's why the code is also going to keep on changing, right? So we need to arrange our code in a manner that if we want to change it or modify it or correct it, right, so we must do it in a quick fashion. We must not be shuffling around the code in order to looking for the statements or sentences. We might not be able to correct all the things at one place, so it will be a tougher job for us. So to minimize these kinds of problems, we must use what is called as a method. Say I am adding up two numbers of here. It's a simple thing. It's not really require it does not really require a method. But for example, for bigger things, for bigger verification, for bigger codes, for bigger maintainability and sustainability of the code, we must have to use the methods in a correct manner provided, right? So int a equals to 10 and b equals to 20, c a plus b and system out print line c. So this is a simple code. You can say that okay, I can really modify it according to my requirements within main method. But as the things develop, you will find it difficult to manage the code, right? So it will be more productive if you if you put it inside another block which we call as method. So let me first run this for you so that it becomes clear that the code is running. So this is something which is without methods. Okay, this is something which is without methods. I've still saved the code. Of course, I have also checked it up. It will run fine. Oops, what's happened? And there is an error. Right, the error is over there. Over here. Right. This is right code. This is right code. What's the problem? What's the problem? The problem is in here, right? I have my. What is this? Right. Let me close this. I hope this is gonna work. I'll try it. Right. And it's working. Right. Java, and let's run it. And 20, 10, and 2. So 10 and 10, 20. 30 minus 20 is 10, and 20 divided by 10 is 2. So this is working. It's okay. But in order to give you an overview of the methods, let me run this by introducing method concept now. So okay, first of all I need to go to the correct file, and I'm really messing up with the code right now. I have to uncomment these things and I have to comment these things out. Also, you can see that I have to use lots of different variables over here, whereas in this case I am just using two variable names, right? Variable name, or I should say identifiers. More correct word is identifier. A and B, A and B, A and B in case of methods. So I should comment this section out. So I have commented this one out, right? This one out. This is how you call a method. You have the name of the method, you pass the parameters, you don't have to pass the return type as well, right? You don't have to pass the return type. Now in here I am not throwing back anything back to the calling place, right? So I am declaring void over here. Remember, in Java you must declare the return type. If you are not throwing anything, you must declare the return type as void. If you are throwing something, then you must declare the type of that result you are throwing back to the calling place, right? Or to the caller in a broader sense. So this is sum. I have two arguments over there, right? Int A and B, catching the two numbers, and then I'm just adding up and printing the result. Similarly for difference and division. So how to call the method? You write the name and the argument list or the parameter list. You call them parameters as well. Parameter list, and the method will do its job, right? So difference, this is how it's gonna work. Division, this is how it's gonna work. So let me quickly run this now in order to show you that I am not messing up with things, right? 20, 10, and 10. Now to prove that this is indeed a method which I am running, what I should do is I will let me put it this way. I'll Yes, this is a test format. What I'll do is I will write in a statement, which will show method, although you can verify this as well, right? So let me quickly run this, and this time it's gonna method, right? So this time I'm not calling it through the variables, I'm calling it through the methods. So this is one case where you can use methods and reduce the complexity. Now from this you can see that it's easier to maintain this code. You can simply type in more parameters here, and you can pass more parameters over here, and the sum function will work, right? You can have a difference, you can change the number over there, and the result will be displayed over here. It's a small function, so it's not very much clear, but when you deal with the bigger methods and bigger functionalities and securities, you will find it more useful than really accommodating all the code into one place. So I hope my point is very much clear to you now. So my main topic today is not the discussion of methods. I just took it out of I took blindly the concept of methods, although I wanted to discuss more about the variable argument methods. So please take this video as the variable argument method concepts. Now, what are variable argument methods? We have discussed about methods. I tried to somehow give you the definition of method. Now, variable argument methods. See over here, in case of sum, I have two arguments, right? One is 10, one is 10. In case of difference, two arguments, right? So these are two arguments, right? These are two arguments for sum. Now say at some point of time I want another function which can take three numbers like this and provide me the result. So for this, for this one I have a method over here, which is this one. So it's gonna give me the result. But for this one, I must have another method, right? We should add up three numbers together, and say at some point of time I want four numbers, right? Like this. I want 4 like this, right? So the things are getting complicated now. So for two numbers you want one method definition, for the other one you want, for 3 you want one more, for 4 another one. So the things are getting complicated. So in order to get out of this problem, Sun Microsystem introduced the concept of variable argument methods. So what are variable argument methods? So variable argument methods were declared till 1.4 version. We cannot declare a method with variable number of arguments. So where in case of sum we have 2 arguments, and then 3 arguments, then 4 arguments. So we have the same method name, but the number of arguments are changing. So this is what meant by variable argument method, right? The arguments are changing, but the requirement of the function is same, just adding up the numbers. That's it. So this is what variable argument method is. If there is a change in number of arguments, then we must go for new method, as I have explained you already. So it increases length of the code, of course, and reduces readability, which is the outcome of increasing length of the code, right? So how do we overcome this problem? To overcome this problem, Sun Microsystem introduced variable argument method, which can take variable number of arguments. So you need to define only one method, and it's going to take care of all the arguments that you pass to it, whether it's 2 number of arguments, 3 number of arguments, or more than 2 in short. Such type of methods are called as variable argument methods, right? Now the question is, how do we declare it? You have shown I have shown you the syntax for the simple methods, but I haven't told you about the the concept of variable argument methods. So we declare it by this format. This is, you can understand, this is the method name. M1 is a valid identifier, so it's a method name. It's a valid method name as well. So M1. Now this is not showing me the return type, so this is not a correct method name, but for now consider this. So how do we declare it? We declare it by putting 3 dots, right? 1, 2 and 3 dots, and declaring int, and then 3 dots, and then a valid variable name, identifier name, right? So this is how we declare variable argument methods. So how do we where's the test class? This is, now I must go to this one, right? So how do we use it inside our program? This was something about the methods. Now coming to the next point, which is the variable, and this is way much more important than just discovering methods. These are the right. Now let me copy this. So this is the code which I have written down. In this I have a method sum which is not taking any argument, then 2, 3 and 4, right? And then I have declared a method sum which is not returning anything, so that's why I have declared it as void. And we have a variable number argument method sum. How it is variable argument method? Because it has got 3 dots, right? 3 dots. Now there is a code. This code is taking total as 0. It's local variable, so it will be created and destroyed at the time when some method is invoked, right? So total is 0. Now this is a for each loop. This is what we call as for each loop. We will be discussing about the for loops, while loops, and many other loops in our later video sessions. For now, consider the code. Here what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to add up things, right? So I have done a total of the things and then I'm printing it onto the screen. So the method is not throwing anything. That's why we are not required to really provide any kind of return type over here and declare that return type as void. Now let me quickly run this. What happens is, when the sum method is called, it will check, okay, there is no method, there is no argument, right? There is no argument, so it's gonna work out. Okay, there is no argument, there's no problem. Total is 0, 10 and 20, the total is 30. And similarly other things will be calculated. So it's gonna accept all these 4 method calls very easily. Now see this. Okay, and this one, right? Sum 0, 30, 60 and 100, as we have discussed, right? So this is something about the variable argument method concept. So if you have a requirement like this, then you can simply declare a method like this and it will take care of rest of the things. Now if I just increase the parameter numbers or argument numbers to 5, see, I am not writing any new function. I'm just saving. I have just saved it, and now if I run it, you know, it's 150. It's working fine, right? So cool, right? This is cool. This is cool. Okay, now we have some rules and regulations related to the variable argument methods. We have rules related to methods as well, but that's a thing for next time. For now, I am more concentrating on varargs. So let's talk about that. So yeah, there is this thing. There are cases related to it. So case number 1, which of the following are valid? So let me quickly take this. What I will do, I will just run these things. I'll have to write down the code as well now. So now in here, I'll delete this one, right? I'll delete this one as well. So right now in here I'm going to call these things up. From here to here I'm commenting things out, right? And this is semicolon. Let me quickly run public static, because I'm calling through the static area. M1 is the name of the method, and I'm not passing down anything, or I'm not giving back anything to the source taking. And this is calling int. This is how I declared it. No such things are really. So let me write down the code vararg method. Right now if I go and call on this method, call it up, how I'll call it, I can call it by using this method, by using this, right? So the main concern is not to call from this point, but the main concern is to show you that this is a right way to declare the arguments, vararg methods. So there is no space between the dots, over here and over here, right? There's no space between this, and it's right to declare variable argument methods like this. So if I compile it, it compiles fine, right? So this is one thing. Let me minimize it. It's just gonna come. Now this is called once again. This time I'm gonna just take the other one. This one. This time it has a space over here. You can see the space like this, right? This time it's having a space. I just copy it over there, and then, or I should do it like this. Easy one. Right. Again compiling, and there's no error now as well. Now this time I put a space over there and remove the space from there. Now see, once again, and there is no error once again. Now in the next instance, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put space over there. Why I'm doing this spaces, it will be clear to you in a moment. So this is all right to have spaces. Till this point, what I have done, I have taken these 3 points together. I haven't put any space between these 3. I am putting space over there or over here, right? Over here. But now let me put the space. I am removing the spaces over here and putting a space between the 2. Now see the difference. What's the significance? Why it's necessary to see 3 errors, right? Well, I'm not concerned about the errors for now, but see, if you put the spaces at any point in between the points, then you will get the errors, right? So it's really important to follow the syntax. So this is how you really declare the variable argument methods. Now next, so what are the 2 method declarations over here? Which of the following are valid? This one is valid, this one is valid, this one is also valid. This is not valid because the 3 buttons or the 3 dots are coming after x. It should be in between the int and x, right? So if I take this one and quickly remove this one and save this one, okay, come on, and see this, and this is wrong one more time. Oh, it's got more than 3 errors, 9 errors, right? So this was case 1. Now we can mix variable argument methods with normal parameters, right? You want to have the normal parameter, you can have, but it should come in the beginning. So second case tells that you can mix it, and the third case tells that it should come in the beginning. What? The normal parameter should come in the beginning, and the variable argument parameter should come in end, right? So I take this one. Only one case I'm going to do. You can try the other cases which I have listed. Now, okay, this is way much more. Int x ... like this. Let me first. 9 errors, still 9 errors. Okay, it's not working. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put it over there. So this is one part. Now I'm gonna replace this one with this and call the method, because you must have to pass the normal parameter. You have the option of not to pass or to pass the variable argument, but when it's normal, you must have to pass in order to call it correctly. So let me pass the integer type, because we are passing the integer type, and I'm not passing any other thing, right? So see. Now let me see if I'm really doing it clearly and cleverly. Clear the screen, and we got it, right? So we can have the normal parameters. Now what if I swap the positions to x? Now variable one is the one which is in the beginning, and what I will do, I will pass 10 and 10 in order to suffice the need of the variable and the normal parameter. But what happens is that you cannot do it, because you must declare the variable method argument in the end of the method body, right? So it should be the last one to come in the argument list, right? So this is the third case. If we mix normal parameter with variable parameter, then variable parameter should be the last one. It should be the last one. Now case 4, we cannot take more than one method parameter. Sorry, we cannot take more than one. If we do so, we'll get error, right? So let me quickly run this for you and see what's going to happen. So this is the one. I'm passing it, although I don't need to have, I don't need to pass the arguments, but just to clarify myself, I'm doing this, and this is what we get. I'm passing the integer, I'm passing the double, and still I'm not getting anything. Yeah, this is double. If I place an F, it will become float, right? So this is double. So this is how I'm passing the arguments. So it's not accepting. But say as soon as I declare it, although we have discussed this, so I don't really think it's really necessary to run each and everything every time or repeating, because you will be bored of this as well. So this was part 4. Yeah, fifth, very important point. This is inside class we cannot declare variable argument method and corresponding one-dimensional array method. So if we try to do like this code, this is going to give the error. You cannot do so because they will be treated as one, right? So let me quickly run this to show you. So let's see. And my mouse is not working. Why it's not working, man? And see, cannot declare both M1 and test public static void this, right? So we cannot do so. So this was the next case. Now the last case 6 is important as well. So inside class we cannot declare variable argument method, and we have discussed this. Now this program says that we have a method, variable argument method, right? And we have a general method like this. I have written it down. Now if I call this method with this method call, it's not having any kind of arguments inside this. No arguments present. So for no arguments, this will qualify. This part will qualify. So where our method will be printed onto the screen. Now for this one, the second call, again it has got only one parameter, so this is not going to qualify. Again this will qualify. So where our method will be. But for the third one, where both these qualify, this one is also qualifying and this one is also qualified, the priority will be given to the general method. So general method will be printed onto the screen and not where arg method will not be onto the screen. So where arg method and general method, and then general method will be printed onto the screen. So it's kind of a default case where if nothing matches, then the where arg method will match. So in general, where arg method will get least priority, right? The rest of the things you can read. Now there are more cases. This is also a very important point. Wherever one-dimensional array is present, we can replace that with where arg parameter, right? If this is a one-dimensional array, this is a method, this is one-dimensional array, I can replace it like this. It's okay. It's okay with it, right? It's okay. So if I am writing down main in string args and I want to write it like this, it's okay. And I'll show you. This is one-dimensional array and this is where arg. So now you can verify that difference in a short while. So this is okay. What's wrong? Oh, I think I haven't clearly. Yeah. I have to remove the second one or the first one in order to really run this code. So I hope this time it will run. Yeah, it's running. So it's working perfectly fine, right? It's perfectly fine. Now in the next instance, what happens is if I have where arg method, I cannot replace with one-dimensional array. So it's not vice versa. Remember this point. It's not vice versa. You can have where arg method. You can replace it if required. The one-dimensional array can be replaced. I'm sorry, but not the fact that it's not the vice versa. You cannot replace the where arg method with the one-dimensional array. So it's not gonna work, right? It's not gonna work. So these are some of the important points related to where arg methods. Now there are some notes. What is that? This is a where arg method. We can call this method by passing a group of int values, of course, and x will become one dimensional. So what happens is at the back of a compiler, what happens is it becomes one dimensional array. So this is going to become one dimensional array. So this thing, this is 1D and this is where arg. So what happens is you can pass a variable number of one dimensional arrays in this case, right? In this case, you can pass variable number of one-dimensional. You have one-dimensional arrays with 2 numbers, with 3 numbers, with 4 elements. With 5 elements like this, and you can really call only one method at the backstage. So what's gonna happen? It's gonna change into 2D. It's not 2D, but it's gonna behave like 2D. Remember this point. It's not 2D. It's not 1D. It's gonna behave like this only. And you are passing the variable number of arrays, not the arrays, not the one type of same number of elements you are passing every time. You need only one method. You can pass variable number of elements of one-dimensional array, two-dimensional array, multi-dimensional array, according to the complexity you can reach, right? So this is one thing. Say this, there I have one-dimensional array. This is another one-dimensional array, and I'm passing it to the M1. So where is M1? M1, where is M1? Oh, it should be M1. This is main. Why this is main? This should be M1, I think. So this is M1. Now this is gonna accept both these, right? Because it can accept multiple one-dimensional arrays. It's gonna accept this. So let me quickly run this, and what's gonna happen? Public static void main is completed, for loop is completed, and then this method body is completed. Okay, this is gonna work, I hope, because I haven't checked up the program. So it's where is the, yeah, there it is. Save it and quickly run this, and we will find that it's working. Let me run this as well, and 10 and 40 are the answers, because what I'm doing is I'm just printing the first element of each and every array. So if I let me do one assignment, extra assignment. If it gets an error, let's see how we can really remove this. And this is working. See, four elements in one, and 3 elements in the other. So they are different this time, and it's working again, right? Although I'm printing the first element of the array. So this is something about the arrays and variable argument arrays. I think this is a much more important topic, and I will cover it in my later video sessions if required. But for now, I hope this is enough information, and I hope that I'm going to make some more tutorials related to variable argument methods soon. So thank you very much for listening, and have a great day. Bye.